Hey guys, good evening and welcome to Cozy Talks Live. Sorry, I am running a few minutes late this evening, quite a bit. It's been a very busy day in the household. So just want to say shout out to everybody. For those of you who are watching the replay, thank you for doing so. Please be sure to give me a shout out in the comment section, put replay, something like that. If you have a question, go ahead and throw it in there as well. I do like to go back and see if there's any questions from the replay section. But in the meantime, I'm going to say hello to my folks who are here live with me this evening. We've got Mark coming in from Colorado with water in his glass, Emily from Central PA with Crystal Light Fruit Punch for her drink of choice. We've got Scott coming in from West Virginia with cold water in his cup. Donna from Wyoming, who just now has the Cozy Talk Strong Body book. So I know she's going to be working out and getting strong. We've got Jim from Illinois, side of St. Louis with ice water. We've got 19 Pop coming in with his classic lemonade, their term. Jim in Ohio with healthy protein drink. We've got Steve says, FYI, I'm moving to Delaware next month and I'm already set up with Align Rehab. Thank you. Oh, good. I am so glad to hear that. Align Rehab with my colleague, Michelle, phenomenal physical therapist right there. We got Chuck coming in from Wyoming with his tea. And Steve says, and I have my ice water as well. Good. We're starting with the questions. Emily, I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Donna's having tea in Wyoming. Bill coming in from Arizona with ice cold Coors Banquet celebrating. Yes, sir. We're going to be celebrating a lot real soon. We got Chuck coming in from YouTube channel. Richard from Mission, Texas on dry ground. Ben Gregory coming in from Texas. Richard, I hope you enjoyed your cruise. We got John C. coming in on board. We got Tina coming in from Almost Heaven, West Virginia. Tina, your name looks new. I don't think you've been on the show before, so if you're new, welcome. We've got Tom, there's my Canadian there coming in. We got Susan, nothing in the cup but a pup in my lap. Oh, we got Marshall on board. That's all you need right there. We got Marianne from South Dakota, Harsh from Richmond. Let's see. John C. is from San Diego. Pastor Dave, I will have you know, I did not yell at hooping and hollering at my family this evening. I was behaving myself, and there's a funny story with that one. We've got Glenn coming in with his Gatorade Zero, and John drinking his iced coffee. I've got ice milk right here. I was literally snarfing my dinner as the countdown was happening, so I'm really glad y'all didn't catch me with like a fistful of spaghetti hanging out of my mouth. Very attractive, I know. Guys, for those of you who are new to the show and wondering who is this crazy woman talking a mile a minute, welcome to Cozy Talks Live. My name is Cozy Belloso. I am a physical therapist here in Tampa, Florida. I've been a PT for 23 years, and holy cow, I can't believe it's been that long. I've worked pretty much in every setting of physical therapy, but working with the amputee community is definitely my passion. Interesting time of year for me. Lots of things happening at this time of year. I am coming up on my 10-year anniversary of a cancer diagnosis, which thankfully is no longer present. I'm also coming up on the end of another year of Cozy Talks. January 4th will be 8 years of doing this show, broadcasting this show. Round about this time, I am gearing up my 2026 sponsors. So excited. I have 2 new companies coming on board this year. Just finished working with them, setting up 2026 this week. So really excited for what we're going to be able to bring into the new year. We have some of our old sponsors coming back, and continuing to develop my partnerships with those companies is something I really, really love and enjoy doing. I can't wait to share with you guys who these new sponsors are going to be. But as always, I like to keep it a surprise. I think those of you who've been with me for several years, you may remember how in years past during Christmas time, I would do a violin concert, a Christmas Carol violin concert, just kind of a way to wrap up the year and also give a thank you to you guys, my viewers, and to my sponsors for all of their support. So the past couple of years, I did not do that particular concert, mainly because I had a passing in the family, and it was just a really kind of a tough time with the holidays. But this year I am thinking of putting the band back together again and doing a Christmas concert again. I missed doing it those past couple of years, and I was thinking about that today, and I was just like, I want to do it this year. So if I can get the tech to work, I have to get the technology to work for me, then hopefully we'll have something in the works for you guys. Johnny V from Poughkeepsie, New York, in the Cozy Talks house. Johnny V, it's good to see you. So guys, I am naughty, naughty me. I am woefully unprepared for tonight's show, which means we've got Helen coming in from Alberta. Sorry, I just got like distracted here. Helen coming in. We've got Pam on board, Jay Mentz on board as well. Guys, welcome on the Instagram channel. Don't be shy about putting your questions there. So getting back to me being vastly unprepared for tonight's show. I forgot to send out the text message. Usually on Wednesdays in the Wednesday morning, those of you who are signed up for my text messages, you get like some sort of like funny little text saying, hey guys, show tonight, send me your questions. And you guys usually comply very nicely and send me lots of questions, which makes me a very happy therapist. I forgot to do that today. And I have a really good reason for it because I am going a little bonkers right now, getting everything ready. But that means y'all need to start posting the questions into the comments section. We're going to kick it old school style, the way we used to do back in the day before I had a fancy text messaging service. So I need y'all to start posting those questions into the comments section. We got Crystal coming in from Fort Worth, Texas. Cindy from North Carolina. There's my Tar Heel girl right there with V8 juice in my cup. Now, those of you who are new to the show and you're wondering, why are people posting their drinks? Let me just tell you, again, this is kind of just reminiscing about how Cozy Talks first started. When I started broadcasting 8 years ago, like people weren't doing this. Like the whole live video podcast video thing, it wasn't a thing yet. So I really didn't have many people to look to see how they were doing it. And I was, let's just face it, I was making it up as I went along. And one of the things is I always loved hearing people's stories. Like when I'm with my patients, that's just something I've always enjoyed doing. I wanted to hear people's stories. So I knew that even though I was talking to a screen and I couldn't see who was behind the screen, I still wanted to know your stories and I wanted to know about you. So I just started off by saying, I wanted to know who you are, where you're from, and what was in your mug. And it's kind of funny over the years, some of you have been with me since the first days, the first shows. And it's awesome because I know you by your drink, where you're from. So some of you, when I've met you at conference for the first time, that's one of the first things that I see. All right. So Mark asks, of your patients, how many of their prosthetic decorated in some way? Maybe personalized would be a better way of saying it. Honestly, lately, I feel like it's been everybody, Mark. And it's kind of fun because when I first started practicing 33 years ago, it was a very different vibe. Everybody had cosmetic covers on their legs. Like everybody had legs. Here's an old dinosaur. People had this was really, really old. Like this one predates even when I started working as a physical therapist, but everybody had cosmetic covers. Everybody wanted their leg to look as much as possible like their anatomical leg, right? And then just somewhere over the years, I think it's because we started seeing in pop culture, we started seeing amputees in movies. We started seeing amputees as models, fashion models, right? I think it just became more cool to show your metal, which I love. I love both. I think it's really cool. Sometimes I'll occasionally still see someone who has a cosmetic cover and I'm just like, wow, that's really nicely done, right? But I also love seeing the metal and I love seeing how people personalize their sockets. It's always fun. It's always fun to see that. So right now, Mark, I would say like pretty much all of my patients lately have had personalized sockets. And then the next thing I see the most is people have the black color socket. Like they have the nice black color, matte color socket on there. So yeah, Mark says, being an engineer, I'm not that artistic, but I've seen some pretty cool decorations on some prostheses. Yes. And then once upon a time, and I'm so sad, I don't know if this person is still in business, Joan from Socket Socks. I got to, get to know her over the years. I actually have to reach out to her. I haven't talked to her in a while. Joan from Socket Socks, she designed socket covers. So it was really cool, just beautiful designs that you can change. And I know there's another company out there that does something kind of similar as well. So Helen says, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobility. Do you mean Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, Helen? So yes, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them, Helen. Hey there, Mark, you're listening to me on Instagram. So guys, for those of you who are not sure, I am broadcasting to YouTube to Facebook to Instagram, and also to Rumble. I know sometimes certain platforms have difficulty streaming, so that's why I have multiple platforms that you can find me easily. Let's see. Chuck asks, how do people go about getting more than one foot? That is the $1,000,000 question, Chuck. A lot of it is it's insurance. A lot of it is insurance based. A lot of the folks that I know that have multiple feet, usually it's because they have, for example, they may have a sponsor company. So they're working with one of the companies, and the companies will comp them more than one foot. Some people who are athletes, they apply to, I know, for example, the most common one I know of is the Challenged Athletes Foundation, where they can receive a grant to get a running blade for their athletic sports. So usually that's kind of how it works, Chuck. And then other people, so for example, if their insurance will replace their foot every 3 to 5 years, well, the foot might still be in great condition. So they'll keep that foot and then get the new foot and then trade it off. Mark says eBay. I know some people do resale on prosthetic feet. And okay, let me do the official licensed physical therapist take on it. Officially, you're not supposed to do that. It voids the warranty, and there's always a liability where the part might not be in good shape, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, honestly, I think it's just common sense. If you're going to buy something resale, whether it's a prosthetic foot or any kind of prosthetic componentry, you need to take it to your prosthetist and have them take a look at it, kick it under the hood, make sure all the parts are working, make sure it's in good condition. And again, I do think, and again, if I'm going to get in trouble for this, oh well. I think there's a lot of waste in this country in terms of reusing durable medical equipment. I can't tell you how much it drives me insane when I go to my local Goodwill, Salvation Army thrift store, and you have an entire section full of walkers, wheelchairs, crutches that are in perfectly good condition. And yet my patient can't get their insurance to kick in for one. Drives me nuts, right? So when it comes to trying to get another foot, again, it's obviously at your own risk. If you're buying a prosthetic foot secondhand, and you have to take that risk and accept that risk for yourself. But I can totally see where, yeah, you could probably score a very nice foot, take it to your prosthetist, have them take a look at it. And if the prosthetist is willing to work with it, when I go to the Range of Motion project over in Guatemala and Ecuador, that's what we're doing is we're collecting spare parts and we're taking it there and using it. Obviously, we cannot reuse sockets because that is very customized to the individual. So, certain pieces cannot be reused again. But yeah, I've always thought that, in that regard, the regulations in this country can be just a bit stringent. Guys, I don't know why my lighting is so terrible this evening. I do apologize. I look like I'm telling a ghost story or something. I don't know. I need a production team. Would anybody like to be my production team? I can pay you in coffee. Anybody? Takers? Anyone? Yes? No? All right. Let's see. Hey there, Monet from St. Louis. I love your name. Johnny says, who's going to help celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Amputee Coalition in Las Vegas this coming January? I will, and hope to see you there too. You there, Kosi? Yes, I am. I have never been to Vegas. I will be going as a guest of College Park. Y'all, let me just tell you, my suitcase is going to be so full of sequins, it's going to make Liberace turn in his grave. That's all I'm going to say. I am bringing the sequins to Las Vegas. And I would love to see you guys there. I will be hanging with the College Park Scooby crew, the Scooby-Doo crew. So I want to see everybody who's at the Amputee Coalition conference. I want you stopping by the College Park booth, and I want to talk to you and meet with you and give you a hug. Emily says, my prosthesis is pretty boring. I didn't know you could have a design laminated on it. Next one, for sure, Emily. But my new KFO is supposed to have a design. I've never had any of my KFOs with a design on it. I just have had hot pink colored straps. Well, I think you need to continue with the whole Barbie core hot pink theme, Emily. I'm a big fan. Let's see. Mark says, I can completely agree with you about taking it to your prosthetist. Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything you get secondhand. And guys, I do a ton of secondhand. I'm actually staring right now at an entire rack of clothing that I will be selling myself secondhand. And I purchase a ton of secondhand items. Again, it's just a way to prevent waste in this country. But, you just got to use your common sense when you're doing it. Let's see. Bill says metal to me shows true grit. Yeah, I think it's kind of, in pardon the expression, I think it's kind of badass. When I see the metal pylon, I think it looks kind of cool. That's my opinion. Let's see. Mark says you do have to understand the part numbers for proper sizing of the foot. Absolutely. Like if you're buying a foot secondhand, again, especially, you might be paying a few $100s. You want to obviously make sure you know what you're buying, make sure it's the right weight category, make sure it's the right type of foot, functional classification of foot, guys. And yes, this is a total shameless plug, but you know what? It's my show. So I'm going to self-promote. Guys, cozytalks.com, on my website, I have a blog. And if you go to that blog, there'll be one that says everything you need to know about prosthetic feet. So it gives you all the functional classifications of the prosthetic feet. I even have like a cheat sheet that you can download and just have with you for reference. So, right click on that one and save that one on that tab right there. Jamie, what's going on? She's got water in her cup this evening. Speaking of one of my amazing sponsors right there, man. Integrum, it's been an amazing year, and it's really, really having so much fun, guys. I got to say, man, again, lots of reflecting during this time of year for me. Again, coming up on the anniversary of my diagnosis, coming up on the anniversary of starting Cozy Talks, and I just think about where I was, 8 years ago when I first started the show, and literally this time of year, guys, I would be praying and just saying, okay, God, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I need the sponsorships. I need the resources to continue producing this show and paying my team. So, if this is where you want me to be, let help me out. And every year, sponsors showed up. So this year it was not as much nail biting, which was nice. And to know that I had the support from the community. And again, some of my sponsors will be returning. I have some new sponsors on board. So I'm super stoked for 2026. All right. Morgan says best socket style for the first leg on fit on a very active below the knee. That's an excellent question, Morgan. So there's a couple of things to think about, and I'm trying to think. I'm sorry to say, Morgan, I don't have any. Whoops. And my set is falling apart. There went my little fake tree. Anyways, Morgan, I don't have a below the knee prosthesis on me that I can show you. A lot of some of the prosthetists that I work with, for the first time, like the very first socket on a below the knee, a lot of them like to do either a lanyard or a pin lock suspension system, mainly because it's easy. Right? It's easy to put the leg on using that kind of suspension system. For the first time user, it makes the person feel very secure in the socket because, the first time wearing a prosthesis, a lot of people have the impression they're like, is this leg going to come flying off when I take a step or when I swing my leg out there? Right? So having a lanyard or having a pin lock system is something that makes the person feel secure. Now, for someone who's very, very active, okay, if your leg is healing well, you're moving around well with your crutches, and it looks like you're going to do really well, then the prosthetist might opt for a different type. They might go for more of a total contact shape, even with a pin lock or lanyard suspension, but they might opt for a different kind of suspension system. They might opt to put you into a suction suspension. Again, every prosthetist is a little bit different. So, guys, sorry, this camera is just driving me nuts. I'm going to take that camera out. Sorry, guys, I'll be right back. Hang on. There. That camera was driving me insane. Okay. So anyways, every prosthetist is going to be just a little bit different in how they want to approach it. If they see that your limb is really, really, really swollen, they may not necessarily go to a suction socket right away because your limb is going to start to shrink a lot. So they might do a pin lock or a lanyard. The nice thing is, Morgan, is if they start you off in a more basic socket with a pin lock or lanyard suspension, as you start to shrink, because your limb is going to shrink a lot as you start walking on it, then they can switch you back over to a suction and change up the suspension to something a little more in keeping with your active lifestyle. Okay. So that part can change. What Morgan, again, what I would encourage you to do is, again, click on the link that's right above your comment to go to my website where I have the blog about prosthetic feet. That's the part that for you, I would love for you to educate yourself on the different classifications of prosthetic feet. And since I don't have anything prepared tonight, I'll just go through it super, super fast. So the prosthetic feet, you're going to find, Morgan, that there's a lot of really cool names out there, right? You have like the Maverick, the Odyssey, uh, the help me out here, guys. Of course, I'm blanking out the Elan, the Echelon, all these really, really cool names, but they're not really telling you a lot about the foot itself. Okay. You need to understand what is the function of the foot. Okay. So I break it up into 10 different classifications. You have a satch foot, single axis foot, multi axial foot, dynamic response foot, energy storing and response foot, hybrid feet, stubbies, hydraulic feet, running blades, and the microprocessor feet. Holy cow, guys, I got it right on the first one. Okay. So while that sounds like a whole bunch of different classifications, again, if you read through that blog that I wrote, I tell you, this is what this foot does. This is meant for this kind of a lifestyle. This one's meant for this kind of a lifestyle. This one has a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay. So when you go to your prosthetist and it's time to pick out a foot, okay, I want you to kind of have in mind what are your life's activities. If you're a very active person, okay, and you want a foot that gives you more mobility, then you might look at a foot that has multi-axial components and a foot that has energy storing or dynamic response componentry to it. And this is the kind of stuff that you're going to want to talk to your prosthetist about. Next thing, Morgan, is you're going to want to ask your prosthetist to trial at least 2 and if possible 3 feet. A lot of the companies out there, okay, offer trial programs, no strings attached. I can tell you for sure, College Park, because I've been working with them forever and a day, they have a 30-day trial program. They will send you a custom made foot, not just off the shelf, a custom made foot for you to trial for 30 days. If you don't like it, you return it. That's it. No strings attached. Okay. So I highly, highly encourage this. Yeah. I just kind of like threw the whole kitchen sink right there with that one. Let's see. Jim says, looking forward to the Amputee Coalition. Jim, I am looking forward to seeing you there again as well. Let's see. Thank you, Monet. I appreciate that. Let's see. Steve says, I have a tattoo of a pirate ship on my sock. It helps me put a positive spin on it. I love it. Monet says, I started with a microprocessor. Monet, are you an above the knee amputee or did you get a microprocessor foot? William says timber. Bill says timber. Yeah. No, it is. I am not going to turn my camera around because it's a little embarrassing. I'm in one of those like renovation modes, the crazy mom of 4. For those of you joining me for the first time, I have 4 kids. And the only reason I didn't have more is because I can't count higher than 4. So basically it means that several times a year, I have to do like a lot of reorganizing and clean out. So right now the Cozy Talk studio is a big old hot mess. Let's see. Mark says, then have fun assembling pylons and feet. I have 4 different ones for different reasons and 2 other feet are not mounted on pylons yet. Mark, you are definitely the outlier being an engineer. And I know you like to tinker. And I just see like, I don't know, like prosthetics as a second career for you at some point, Mark. I'm just getting that vibe. That is where you are headed. I don't know. All right, let's see. Instagram. I need to make sure I'm checking in with you guys too. We got Pam coming in from Indiana. Larry, oh my goodness, I haven't seen you in ages. I would love to have an update from you, Larry. I see you. I see you, buddy. I would love to have an update from you. You won't believe this, Larry. I'm not joking. I found the beautiful earrings. I had a lovely viewer who brought me a pair of earrings, and I still have those beautiful earrings. Mark says he loves his Elan. Yeah, the Elan is a very nice foot. I have a lot of people there. Paola says microprocessor feet. How does that work? So Paola, very similar to how a microprocessor knee works. So with microprocessor knees, and a lot of people kind of get this confused sometimes. Hey there, Alexandra. Thank you for joining in. And C. Crook, thank you for joining in as well. When it comes to microprocessor componentry, a lot of people are just like, ooh, that's complicated. Yes and no. Okay. Microprocessor, whether it's a knee or a foot, it just means that they just added computer sensors to an existing foot or knee. And I know I'm oversimplifying it right now. And I know my prosthetists are just like, what? Okay. So basically, if you take for example, a hydraulic knee, okay, a hydraulic knee, you put microprocessor sensors on it, it becomes a microprocessor knee. but at the foundation, it's still a hydraulic knee. Does that make sense? So what it means is that instead of the knee having to wait for you to put your weight in, for you to kind of guide the knee, then the computer sensors are sensing everything in the environment and will adjust the friction in the knee. Okay. So when it comes to the microprocessor foot, again, most microprocessor feet on the market, most, not all, are hydraulic feet, and they just have a microprocessor component on it. So the microprocessor is sensing what angle your foot and your leg is in and adjusting the friction accordingly. So that's how it works. That's basically how it works. And there's pros and cons to having a microprocessor foot versus a hydraulic foot without the microprocessor units on there. Let's see. John C says, "Do you know much about people selling their old prosthetic legs, sockets, post feet, etc.? Example: I have both of my old below knee suction prosthetic legs." No, John C. As I the my experience with like the resale market on prosthetic feet and things like that, it's mainly when I go to range of motion project. The couple of times I've been to Guatemala, and we make a request and say, hey guys, anybody who has old components, please send it to this address so that they can be recycled and used again. Thank you very much. And that's my experience with it. I do know that, like, some of my more experienced amputees, they are, going around on the secondhand eBays and whatnots and whatever to find secondhand parts and pieces. So that's kind of it. I know from me, I like to go whenever I am at a prosthetist office. They always have like a dusty closet in the back. Y'all know you have one. I know all of you have one. It's a dusty old closet, and I love rooting around back there for old componentry to try to put into my toy box over here. Speaking of which, I need to go raid some prosthetist office because I need an update on some of this stuff here. Morgan says, thank you. I took notes off your foot blog just recently, thinking hydraulic makes sense. I appreciate that, Morgan. Yay, someone's reading it. Yay. So again, the cool thing about hydraulic feet is it definitely makes you feel more connected to the ground, right? That's kind of that's like the general consensus right there, is it makes you feel more connected to the ground. So if you're someone who's on a lot of uneven ground, like a contractor or somebody who loves to go hiking, things like that, a hydraulic foot makes sense. Now, here's what I've learned, Morgan, and this is just me with like 20 plus years of experience. This is not any fancy research. I've noticed that with active individuals, okay, I like to have them try a hydraulic foot, and then I like to have them try an energy storing and response foot. It's two different feels to the foot. So the energy storing and response is again like that. It's going to give you more spring in your step, right? It's going to give you more mobility. The hydraulic is going to give you a little more stability. Okay. And I've seen just as many of my active folks say, yeah, you know what? I like the spring in my step. I feel like the hydraulics is holding me back a little bit. And then I have just as many active people say, no, man, I like the hydraulics. I like having that connection to the ground. I like being able to go up and down those ramps a little easier. But for my active folks, I feel like they're kind of in the middle. So, see if you can trial one of each. Let's see. John says, one of the guys getting PT where I go was saying he sold his on eBay to someone in Austria for like $1,000, and you can't just resell them to you just can't resell them to a US address. I did not know that. Okay. So guys, those of you who were here 3 weeks ago, I brought baby chicks onto the show. Yes, I did say baby chicks because I have chickens, and literally a week ago, okay. A week ago, I was driving to church with my family, and my poor husband was driving down the main highway in our town. And I see this little tiny black thing streaking across 3 lanes of the busiest highway in my town. 3 lanes. Right? So, of course, I yell at my poor husband, pull over! There's a cat! And he pulls over. Somehow we manage, and my son and I jump out of the car, run across 3 lanes of traffic ourselves, manage not to get ourselves killed. And we see this tiny, completely untouched little kitten who somehow made it across 3 lanes of highway. So we scoop up the kitten, take it back to the car, and my husband just looks at me very just resigned, and he says, well, I guess we have a cat now. And I go, well, I Yes, we do. And we still made it to church. We made it to church on time and we wrapped this little guy up and he came to church because I was just not going to miss my church on Sunday. And he just went to church, not making this up. So, guys, this is pepino. In Spanish, it means pickles. So, this is, I guess, Mr. Pickles. So if you see me getting a little distracted today, it's because Mr. Pickles here is getting into everything in my Cozy Talks studio. So Bob is super excited about that. Bob's right here. Pickles and Bob have been getting to know each other all day. Okay, here we go. I just can't make this up. 3 weeks ago, I had baby chicks chirping on the show, and now I have little Pickles here. Little Pickles. Chicks are out in the garage. All right. Sherry says, hey, it's Sherry from Orlando drinking protein water. Let's see. Monet says, I am a double below, and yes, I got the feet. Monet, was it the Elan by chance? Which kind of microprocessor feet did you get? Mark says, you are your own advocate on your foot. Do the research and try several as Cozy suggests. Yeah. I say it what I say all the time, guys, is like, if you're going to, you buy a car, right? You take it for a test drive. You don't just buy the first car you see, right? Even if you buy it from CarMax, you take it for it. This thing is walking across my laptop. It has no respect whatsoever. Seriously, Kat, it's a good thing you're cute. So it would make sense that the foot that you're going to wake up to every morning, you should be able to trial that out. Let's see. Jim says, wishing all the feet were available in low profile. I will tell you this, guys. College Park, again, I've worked with College Park for several years, so I am more familiar with their feet. They have huge selection of feet, and of all different kinds. They came out with the Icon. It is a very low profile microprocessor, not the Icon. Oh my gosh. College Park, you didn't hear me say that. Icon is their new microprocessor knee. Good heavens. The Odyssey IQ. So the Odyssey IQ is their new microprocessor foot, and it is very low profile. Like, it is impressively low profile. So if you're looking low profile, and it is a hydraulic foot at its base as well. And it follows the Odyssey line. So if any of you use the Odyssey foot from College Park, they have a K2 Odyssey, a K3 Odyssey, and now they have the Odyssey IQ, which is which is their microprocessor. Mary, what's going on? Okay, you need to stop because you're pressing all the buttons on my computer. Let's see. Mary is drinking her pumpkin spice tea. Mark says, the quick change adapter is the best addition one can have, in my opinion. It saves me at least an hour each day, platform for additional feet. Yeah, and I've heard that from people who swap their feet every day. Let's see. Stacy says, I'm still in my original setup. It's been 4 years, and I think it's time for an upgrade. Let's go, girl. Get yourself an upgrade. Let's see. Mark says, I buy them on eBay without issue. And again, I'll be the first one to say, guys, I don't know the legalities with like purchasing prosthetic componentry on something like eBay. I don't know. That's something you're going to have to kind of do the research on your own right there. 19 Pop says he's a below the knee carbon fiber BOA tall shoe. Has anyone looked into Litra for showering? What is Litra? Bill says I should name him Lucky. I should, I should. But yeah, we have a tough time agreeing on a name with, you can imagine 4 kids and 2 adults with opinions on various names. Emily says, Pastor David, I cannot make this up. I cannot make this up. And when the priest came and he saw, because, we've been with this particular parish for many, 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 many years. And okay, you seriously. Yeah, priest got a good kick out of seeing me with a kitten. All right. Marianne says, I want to know, are your chicks getting feathers? They're still in the floofy stage. John C says, Pickles replace Snickers. Oh my gosh, John C. You remember Snickers? You have an amazing memory. Snickers was my previous cat. She lasted 17 years. She should have been named Methuselah, but she was a sweet cat. All right. Emily says, my friend's cat walks across the screen all the time when we video chat. Yeah. Pickles, I think, is going to be a very active member of the show. So let's see. I think Bob's going to get a little jealous of getting that attention. Let's see. Hodaya says, Hodaya, is it okay to use a different company for the knee and foot? Yes. If you ask the knee company, they'll tell you, well, you really should use our feet. But yes, people do that all the time where they will change. They'll use a knee from one company and a foot from a different company. Obviously, you may have certain limitations with build heights or anything like that, but yes, it can be done. Let's see. Malala Shell says, not a fan of the widths of the foot shells as they don't work with my, oh my gosh, cat, of shoes, sandals, and boots. Not a fan. Yeah. And again, when it comes to the foot shells, I'll say I'm not as savvy. I know sometimes people might get a foot shell that's maybe a half size. Oh my gosh. Okay. That they might get a foot size that's half a size smaller than their normal foot, just to be able to get into shoes a little bit easier. The other thing, ooh, this is something that I just discovered. Okay. We're going to give a shout out to Billy Footwear. So guys, I went to AOPA. Recently. Let me put that onto the Instagram so that you guys can see from Malala Shell. Billy Footwear. And one of the booths that I encountered was Billy Footwear. I know, Emily, like he went scampering off into my laundry so he can go be there. Billy Footwear is a shoe company that was founded by Billy, a man named Billy, who is a spinal cord injury individual, and he created this shoe line. And it's an adaptive shoe line, but it doesn't look like an adaptive shoe line. It is really, really slick. Like I was looking at some of the shoe collection that they had there on display, and I'm just like, I would totally love to wear that and that and that and that shoe. It's really nice looking, and apparently they've been out there for quite some time. So if you're having trouble kind of finding shoes that you can kind of get into with your foot, take a look at Billy Footwear. Really, really nice things. Really nice things. Okay, let's see what else. All right, Mr. Pickles. Fizz Hobas has joined in. Thank you for joining in, guys. Okay, so guys, let me just look over. While I'm looking over, feel free to put your questions into the comments section, guys. I think there was one earlier one that I had missed. So I'm going to look for that. And you guys... So guys, who's going to the Amputee Coalition Conference? Like Johnny V put out the cattle call, but I don't think I heard who's going, right? Me. Who am I going to get to meet at the Amputee Coalition Conference? Let's see. Okay, Emily was asking, have you worked with amputees on GLP-1s? My doctor has prescribed me Zepbound, and I'm just trying to figure out what to expect or work on. I struggle with getting enough protein without consuming too many calories. I also know that exercise is important in a weight loss journey, which is harder in a wheelchair. Okay, so when it comes to the GLP-1s and nutrition, as a physical therapist, there's limited information I can give you, but I have been learning obviously a lot more over the years. If you are, focusing on your protein intake, which I think is a fantastic idea, the more I kind of read, the more I realize the importance of getting good quality animal protein. And for my vegetarians and vegans out there, I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to go and say animal protein is definitely the way to go. There are certain amino acids that are just simply not available in plant-based protein, and legumes and all the other ways of getting protein. We need all the essential amino acids, and you can find it in good quality animal protein. So again, protein that is, I always go with the organic grass-fed kind of protein, right? And in regards, if you are watching, the other thing to also watch out for is obviously your sugar and your insulin. So if you're on a GLP-1 and it's kind of helping to control the sugar levels in your body, again, you can also support that by controlling the sugar in your diet, and just the basics, limit, if not altogether eliminate the processed foods. There's so much sugar. There's so much crap in processed foods. So the rule in my household, and again, I have 4 kids, so I have to be reasonable at times, but the rule is basically whatever we put into our grocery cart should be a 1 ingredient item. 1 ingredient item. So it should be, any kind of vegetables or fruits, animal protein of any kind, milk, eggs, things that it's only one ingredient. And again, we make a lot of our food at home. So just those kind of basic things. And again, if you're not used to doing that, it is a bit of an overhaul in lifestyle. But once you start doing that and eating the whole foods and really getting into that side of it, you'll find that the weight loss is a lot easier to manage. And then also building those muscles. So again, Emily, when it comes to weight loss during a wheelchair, what I've noticed, and I think the research is also showing, weight loss is 80% diet, 20% exercise. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? That you would think it's mainly exercise, and it's actually not. It's a lot of it. The majority of it is what is going here. And as my dad used to say, you can't outrun your spoon. You can't outrun your spoon, right? So having a nutritionist on board, Emily, the one thing I have, I think GLP-1s, oh my gosh, this cat is everywhere. You, sir. The thing with GLP-1s is I think it's a double-edged sword, right? I think it's an amazing tool that we can use to help with managing and um, even backtracking insulin resistance and things that lead to diabetes, right? But if you are not changing your lifestyle, then you're just putting a band-aid on the situation, right? You're just putting a band-aid on the situation. So if you are using a GLP-1, the responsible thing to do is to also be working with a nutritionist or a dietitian. Um, and I think me personally, I love what functional nutritionists do. I think obviously you have to be responsible and find one that's qualified in what they're doing. But I think they are excellent at finding root cause of the problem. Why is it that you are potentially becoming insulin resistant, and what you can do to improve upon that. And everybody's a little bit different. Men and women are also very different because you have the hormonal aspect coming in more so with women than with men. The different stages of life, right, are also going to impact what is it that's going to work for you. But if you are taking a GLP-1, again, the responsible thing to do is to also work with a nutritionist and a dietitian to make sure that you are working with the GLP-1 and not against it. Okay, so that's my soapbox there for that. Let's see. Let's see. Stacy says, I'm going. Tina's going. Glenn is going. Jim is going. Oh, we can have a party there. Jim in Ohio is going. Scott's going. Ben Gregory is going. Oh, nice. 19 Pop says, I used to have Fitville shoes. We'll look for Billy. I've never seen the Fitville shoes. John C says he'll be there too. Emily says, I'm seeing a dietitian. Good. Good. Very good. Let's see. Sherry says, I have a question. 8 years ago, I had a huge wadded tissue cyst surface out of nowhere. Surgeon removed an area, got infected, hematoma ruptured. Oof, ended up back in surgery. They couldn't close the area. Ended on a wound vac, nasty infection. Took 6 months to heal before I could walk. Sadly, a few days ago in the same spot, a huge lump surfaced. Saw my primary doc today. Says it's either a tumor or a cyst. Ordered a CT to say, I'm upset. Yes. Why does this happen in the same spot? We'll end up needing surgery to remove. Ooh. Sherry, again, I can only hazard a guess. If you have a cyst, right, it's like a little sac, right? Little sac. Good. Oh, there. It's a little sac and it's fluid filled, right? So obviously, when the surgeon removes it, that should technically remove it. If they did not, and again, Sherry, I am only hazarding a guess. It could be that in the first surgery, perhaps they didn't remove the entire cyst, or maybe there was another smaller cyst there, so it came back. If there's an area of friction and that's what caused the cyst to form, and then over the years it formed again. If you have scar tissue in that area from the previous cyst, and the surgery and the wound that you had there, and again, that scar tissue is causing friction internally. Again, that I'm just pulling at straws right now. I am pulling at straws right now. But yeah, I'd love to know if you could keep me posted on that. So that being said, I'm putting out my email address here, guys, and this is for everybody. This is the whole reason I do this show, is to be able to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, you can email me directly, kosi@kositalks.com, right there. Bill says, less on the lips, less on the hips. That's an old saying right there. Donna says Kitty thinks he's the star of the show. Kitty is just getting into everything right now. It's like having a toddler all over again. We got Earl from California coming in. Let's see. Emily says, I've been researching, and there are some studies that say GLP-1s can help with lymphedema as well, which would be nice. I haven't read any of the particular research, but anecdotally, I've talked to a lot of people who are on GLP-1s, and something about it helping decrease inflammation systemically. And again, that's just something I've heard anecdotally, not officially researched. So I'd be very curious, Emily. I'd be very curious. Let's see. Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, Emily, he really is like another little kid right now. And the thing is, we have to keep him in here because I have a dog out there and we're still teaching them to play nicely together. So I can't kick him out just yet. All right. Let's see. Okay, guys. So we answered, I think, all of the questions for this evening. Guys, a couple of just housekeeping announcements. If you could please, if you're not already following me on Rumble, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, basically all the major social media channels, please consider doing so. Also, I have a podcast, and that's something you're going to hear me talking about more in 2026. And when I mean podcast, I mean like the traditional kind, the one that you go to Apple or Spotify or iHeartMedia. Apparently, I'm on all the major podcast platforms. So if those of you who like to listen to podcasts, please go to your podcast platform, find me. Everything is under Cozy Talks. It's real easy to find me. If you can start following the podcast and leave me a 5-star review. I know I'm asking for a lot right there, but it just kind of helps, again, promote the show. It helps get the algorithms to put this out there in front of the people who need to listen to it. So yes, I would humbly ask for that support, and thank you in advance for it. All right, guys. Next week is my annual Thanksgiving Thankful Cozy Talk. So Cozy Talks is obviously on a Wednesday, which means it's the day before Thanksgiving. I take a break from my massive cooking and I come and I sit with you guys, and I want to hear what you guys are thankful for. So sometime this week, in the next few days, you're going to see me post, what are you thankful for? And I'm going to ask you guys to post exactly that into the comment section. So there's 33 of you listening right now, and I expect to see at least 33 comments of what you are thankful for. All right, guys. So keep your eyes peeled for social media for some of those postings that I'm going to put out there. I also have a new blog, podcast, cheat sheets coming out in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eyes open for that as well. Okay, I am going to go keep reorganizing this hot mess of a room, and I'm going to go put this kitten to sleep so I can get some sleep too. All right, guys, as always, thank you for letting me be a part of your lives this evening. I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat